If you want to know everything about living in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, both the good and the bad, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about the real estate market in Toronto. My name is Marco Sobrevinas, broker of GTA Home Living, powered by Real Estate Homeward. My team and I get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people just like you looking to move to, from, or within Toronto, either moving up or downsizing. I help people by providing knowledge and education about the true state of the Greater Toronto real estate market. I'm committed to doing this with no hype, no agenda, and no BS. I'm not here to stir up hysteria and panic just to increase viewership, but I won't sugarcoat facts either. I don't depend upon social media for income. All of my videos are created in order to educate people who are genuinely interested in what's truly going on in the GTA. I'll display real, raw data of sales figures and will never manipulate the facts. That's my commitment to you. We truly love helping people, and whether you're moving in 9 or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you buy or sell anywhere in the GTA. Let's get into this week's video. State of freehold houses in the GTA for autumn 2025. So this is a companion piece to the state of condos that I did a couple of weeks ago. We're going to look at market value or sold price, followed by sales volume or the number of sold listings. And finally, we'll analyze the number of houses for sale or active listings. A quick clarification of the geographic area I'm referring to when I say the GTA or Greater Toronto Area. It's the City of Toronto and the regions of Durham, York, Peel, and Halton, as you can see outlined on this map. And when I refer to freehold houses, I mean the following categories of residential real estate: detached, semi-detached, row houses or townhouses, and linked houses. Also, I'm filming this in the third week of October, so the sales volume numbers are pretty much complete for September, but there's usually a few more sales yet to be accounted for. It won't affect the big picture that much, however. As I've stated before in previous videos, autumn or the months of September, October, and early November will seasonally show a bump up in sales volume and price from the summer months. It's usually the secondary peak after the spring season in most years. And as usual, sales volume and market value are indeed up from late summer. I'm not interpreting that as any sort of major change in the market or a big turnaround. No, simply buyers are back from summer vacation and are now actively out there shopping for a new home. That's what happens after Labor Day. Expect to see sales volume and prices to drop during the holiday months of December and January as usual, for exactly the opposite reason, as people are focused on the holiday season and they're on vacation usually. Starting with sales volume, number of sold properties for freehold in the GTA. As usual, there's an increase from August to September. Freehold sales went up plus or positive 9% from 3,262 homes sold in August to 3,556 in September. A more significant metric is the year-over-year comparison. We're up plus 6.8% compared to last September in sales volume or number of sales. That's the fourth straight month for sales to be higher than the same months in 2024 this year. So that is a significant trend. Let's switch gears and look at sold prices or market value. The average price is up from August by 2.6%, from $1,231,355 in August to $1,231,355 $263,545 for September. Year over year, it continues to be below last year. Compared to September of 2024, we're currently negative 5.6% in price or market value, average price. Here's a chart showing overall market value or sold price for freehold in the GTA since the panic buying of winter 2022, just before the first interest rate hike. Prices have declined overall, as you can see in the chart, albeit with some peaks during spring and autumn seasons, since the interest rate started rising way back in spring 2022. Note that the interest rate dropping, which started June 2024, hasn't done much to push up prices yet. Although, as we've seen, the lowered interest rate likely has had a positive influence on increasing volume of sales. As you can see, the bottom of the market for freehold in the GTA was very recent, just this past August. So we're up slightly from that. By the way, when you combine both freehold and condo sold prices, all categories of residential real estate altogether, the absolute bottom of the market was back in January 2024. Pundits and social media influencers tend to overcomplicate factors, but the main factor, I believe, in keeping market value low is economics 101, supply versus demand. To me, the biggest factor that's keeping market value or sold price relatively low is the number of listings out there, especially when compared to the number of buyers out there. Yes, as we saw earlier, sales volume is up 9% month over month, and more significantly, 6.8% year over year. That is a significant increase in sales volume. Look at the number of available freehold or active listings, however. The overall chart starting 2 years ago tells a story visually. The number of freehold houses for sale is way up. By June 2025, we were at an all-time high, over 17,000 available house listings in the GTA. While thankfully that number has come down in September to 16,453 house listings, that's still far more than what we usually see in the past. Going back to January 2023, you can see clearly in this chart how many more listings we have today since then. More than interest rate or economic trade war, it just comes down to this. In order for freehold market value or price to go up, the number of listings needs to continue to come down, and the number of buyers needs to continue increasing. As always, the numbers I presented here are true raw data. These monthly figures are the average price for thousands of sales over the entire GTA. It gives you an accurate big picture view. If, on the other hand, you want to determine an accurate market value of your own individual property, be sure to contact me to assess that. There are dozens of factors in a property that will adjust your market value up or down. So make sure you consult with me if you're assessing a single property. All right, so for buyers, needless to say, now is a good time to buy. I wouldn't say it's a great time to buy, but it's a good time to buy. Prices have gone back in time over 2.5 years to January 2024 values. There is a lot of listings to choose from. And yes, it's getting noticeably busier with more buyers coming back to the market, but not compared to our current listing inventory. There's still a huge amount of available listings. Do note that certain areas and properties that are desirable are often being listed with an offer date again. So yes, for buyers, a dreaded offer date scenario is starting to happen once more in some neighborhoods. Will prices continue to drop? I mean, I showed you that overall chart of market values from the beginning of 2022. Well, I can't honestly predict what will happen in the long term. If freehold prices continue to drop next year, it'll likely be in the single-digit percentage as it has been doing, over the past 3.5 years. Single digits, 5-6% every year downwards. Factors that might affect prices going up. We'll likely have yet another interest rate drop before the end of the year. This is often touted by mainstream media as the factor that's going to raise prices. But there's no evidence of that, as we've seen in the chart I've shown. It's having little effect on raising prices. I do believe it might be having a positive upward effect on pushing the volume of sales, though, so that have been seeing recently. Another factor, the federal government's ban on any foreign buyers buying Canadian real estate may be lifted in 2026. It's been in effect for a few years now. If that happens, given the political volatility around the globe, that would likely see a significant rise in the number of buyers wanting to move here, as we're a relatively stable nation compared to obviously many others in the world. End result, if that happens, if they do drop the foreign buyer ban, expect increasing demand and prices. In the short term, I can tell you this with a lot of confidence. Do expect to see the usual seasonal drop in average sold price during December and January. No surprises there. It always happens during this time of the year. It's the holiday season. So again, my honest opinion is I believe it's okay for buyers to buy in this market. It's an okay or good market for buyers. For sellers, if you bought more than half a decade ago, you're still doing well when it comes to market value being noticeably higher than what you originally paid for. Do obviously consult with me to confirm that. I'm sure there are some exceptions here and there, but overall market value has gone up if you bought more than half a decade ago. If you do sell, if possible, try to list without a tenant present, or if it's your primary resident, move out during showings. Present the house very clean and work with an agent who will cover the staging for you like the way I do. If you present the house really well, it goes a long way to getting a sale. See you next week.